all gas here that's potentially in the parking lot back where our vehicles are. There's just a ton of media out and through here as well. So what we're going to do is this water comes up, we're going to continue to move back and back and back as much as we can. But we've already heard Bill Cairns is around too. He just told me that down the way that the wave action, which is hitting the seawall at a much more perpendicular angle. I mean, the waves are coming parallel to the seawall right now. Where it's hitting it against the wall, we've actually had some damage to the wall at this point. So more and more of that is expected. The big thing is when that high tide gets here, how high is that water going to get? All right, Carl Parker, our hurricane specialist. Carl, what is the latest on this? How far is this from New York right now? About 300 or less?
It's less than that. The core of the storm is now less than about 150 miles from the south coast of Jersey, so probably a couple hundred now from New York. So it's not very far away, and at this point, we think it's going to come in most likely in the early evening hours, probably about 7 to 8. But again, the core of the storm is really important as regards where the worst of the surge is going to be. But as you know, the effects are already being felt across much of the Northeast, and that's only going to step up over the next few hours here. Right now, it's a 90-mile-per-hour storm. It's moving north-northwest at 18 miles per hour. Here's this visible imagery we've been getting from the University of Wisconsin. You can really see how the winds speed up. Notice the clouds moving along here, well away from the center, but look closer there. You get a little bit closer to that core, which is still very tropical. Thunderstorms firing up all about that core. There's an eye. And through the evening hours. So let's take a look at the current winds. And right now, winds are gusting to 51 miles per hour, Wallops Island, now 35 in Washington, D.C. Farther northward, very strong wind has been coming into Boston, gusting to 53 right now, 48 Montauk, and 47 in New York City. And that wind is going to continue to step up. And we have already gotten reports of trees down from Brooklyn out across Long Island. We expect to see a lot more of that as the wind continues to move in. And we'll take a look at the timeline coming up here in just a few minutes in the Tropical Update. Want to go now to Mike Seidel. He is in New Jersey. And Mike, this could be one of the greatest storms on record, if not the greatest, there along the Jersey shore.
Very likely, because this is what I experienced during Irene as it came by through the Outer Banks, this kind of wind and sand. And we're, again, a good dozen hours or so from the core coming on shore. So this is what we have. Look at the Atlantic now. The tide is going out towards its lowest point, but it's not going out very far. We keep talking about the wave setup and the big push of water by these strong northeast winds, gusting out here over 50 miles an hour and sustained over 30. It's hard to, you can't look that way. I've got to get the goggles out. Meanwhile, as we continue to see the wave action, it continues to eat up the beaches. And we'll continue we've got to throw it back to you now. Is there an issue? Okay, I've got to go. We've been told to move out of our shot. Sorry, got to cut it off.
Well, I think the problem there is, it's hard for Mike to hear when there's so much going on around him. So that's why he was sending it back to us. But we want to let you know, do keep it here for Sandy-related coverage. We're going to get back to Mike Seidel, of course. And the Weather Channel is Hurricane Central, of course. We're going to cover every angle for you of the storm. But if you're not in front of your TV, you can also go to weather.com and you can get it on your mobile device. Of course, this is a look at Sandy. It is a satellite view, and it is going to be coming on strong over the next several hours. Hopefully, you are already prepared for what is going to be happening. We'll be back. High winds and rains are lashing out at the state already, as well as numerous other areas. And you can see wind whipping the levees here, and the leaves, I should say. And, what you're going to find, too, is it's already starting to seep into some of these homes. And you can see how the winds as well are here just turning against these homes, Nick. Wow, and you see the washover over the roadways. This is a scary event when you consider how much we still have left to go.
It's just going to get worse here throughout the afternoon and the evening around Philadelphia. Increasing winds with gusts to 50 miles per hour and more, with some heavy rain at times. And then tonight, expect those winds to come down. Well, actually, they're not going to come down. Wind gusts to 60 miles per hour. We'll have some ongoing flooding here. Not really coming down until tomorrow will be those winds. There'll still be some periods of heavy rain, and the wind gust could still exceed 40 miles per hour. So it's not going to end suddenly. This is going to be a long-term event, and we're just getting started. Just getting started here around New York City as well. We're going to continue to see those winds come up to 70 miles per hour and more, perhaps gusting, with significant water rises there near the beaches. Heavy rain at times will continue into this evening hours, as will the winds. They could reach 80 miles per hour and more before coming down slowly tomorrow. So that's the way things are shaping up in some of the metropolitan areas. Heather?
And Nick, we also want to find out more about what is happening in Rhode Island. So let's send it over now to Eric Fisher. He is in Narragansett with more on what we are seeing here. And, you look somewhat dry, although it's hard to see. It looks like there's some rain coming down. I think it's just because you're bundled up that you're dry.
Bundled up is definitely what we're going with here. Lots of layers on. I've got 4 pairs of pants and 4 shirts on, and then the winter jacket. Got temperatures in the 50s. You're outside for a long time. You want to make sure you're warm. You mentioned the rain. Rain is not the big concern here in Rhode Island. We're not going to see enough to cause freshwater flooding. Most of the rain concerns are more toward the mid-Atlantic and up toward Pennsylvania. That's where they're going to be seeing the more concerning rainfall totals. That's one thing we don't have to worry about so much here in Rhode Island. What we are worrying about is that ocean. Now, we're still pushing the water out just a little bit, certainly not as much as usual. We're heading toward low tide, which is in just a little while. But even though we're going toward low tide, we've seen some of these waves come up. I know a few people on the sidewalk here. Some of them get wet. You look off to the side right there. You get that spray coming across, a lot of the sea foam working its way out into the street. And so the main idea here is that this is about as low as it's going to go. And then as we head through the afternoon into this evening, that water's coming back up. So when it comes in, it will go over that seawall. It's going to come into the street, which is closed down to traffic right now. And then it's going to push up and likely into some homes or businesses here in Narragansett, and certainly in the low-lying spots like Matunic, which is just down the road from here. The road down to Point Judith is shut down already. So travel is just going to get worse as we head through the afternoon, of course. We're not encouraging any travel out there. If you're driving around a car, all it takes is one tree coming down. And that's going to lead to some big issues and maybe even some fatality.